I wouldn't be true to my own path if I didn't first go as petty as humanly possible and laugh at both Trump and Tucker Carlson. Here is TYT. It's the good old-fashioned, the Young Turks, discussing the hypocrisy of Tucker Carlson, as well as a change in the political atmosphere around Donald Trump. Let's have a listen.
I don't think we should fight a war against China. I definitely don't think we should fight a war against Russia. But you can't say the world is going to be a better place when China and Russia control the majority of it. You just can't say that. I'm sorry, you just can't.
No, you can't.
And yet they're making that a dead certainty.
Wow. Well, I saw Trump said he could close that in 24 hours if he wanted to. Do you think he could?
I have no idea. I mean, he couldn't build a border wall in 4 years. So, there is a gap between promises and delivery with all politicians, very much including him.
Oh, Tucky. The gloves are off. The gloves are off.
That's a new one.
How about you repeat those comments on Fox News and see how it works out for you? Okay, yeah. Mr. Coward on.
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with Anna Kasparian at the end here, and I first want you to note what she just said, which is, how about you go say that on Fox? And my question at the end will be, why is he saying it at all now if he's not willing to say it on Fox yet? Regardless, I mean, it's nothing but good news. It's debating over which way the beast goes down. But I do think the relevant thing here is going to be as a predictor for the future. That said, aside from one disagreement with Anna Kasparian in a segment where she makes a bunch of points, this is a fantastic breakdown of what's going on and how MAGA is going to attempt to move forward as the evidence just mounts against Trump, and it becomes obvious that this guy is going to become more and more of a sideshow and less of the actual serious political candidate that he once was.
Fox, while you're internally terrified of Donald Trump supporters, you have big mouth when you're on your, what is it, the Full Send podcast, I guess?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Because he goes on these other shows and admits things that he doesn't say on Fox News. It's so interesting. And obviously, I think the real importance of this story is Tucker and others are beginning to throw Trump under a bus more aggressively. Mm-hmm. And remember, Tucker's not from the establishment wing. He's not doing Mitch McConnell's bidding. He's not, so this is a different thing. And remember, Tucker's really burning the house down on Fox News. He might be costing them a lot of money with his segments that he's doing while they're being sued. So our theory has been all along that at some point he's gonna say something so outrageous, Fox News is gonna have to fire him. He then becomes a martyr and runs, and who would he run against? Donald Trump, who couldn't build a border wall in 4 years. And wait till you see what else he says.
Well,
that is a really interesting point. The idea that Tucker Carlson probably has political ambition. I would agree. It is easy to forget Tucker Carlson has not been at Fox forever. He seems synonymous with it. But like 15 years ago, this guy still wanted mainstream media to embrace him. I think he's found his audience. He's going to keep working within that audience for sure. But in what capacity he works within that audience, that is an interesting question that they bring up.
Why don't we get to that right now?
I will say, in Trump's defense, and maybe because he's a little bit autistic, he saw the stakes of this like at the very beginning. He's like, you don't want, and this is what I do love about Trump, particularly in foreign policy. He sees the big stuff. He's like, wait, you've got Russia and China. They don't trust each other. We can't let them get together. They'll kick our ass.
First of all, there's nothing like a right-winger when they get a chance to speak the truth, because it's bottled up in them, and they tend to just nail it because they know what the other side ought to say to them. They're constantly shocked that it doesn't happen, and so when they get a chance to talk about the truth, to make their own case, they're like, oh, it comes pouring out, and it's beautiful, and it's correct. Tucker Carlson is correct there. I do want to say about that little that autistic line. Look, I don't agree with the language. I'm positive TYT addresses it. Just bear in mind what they're saying in their own immature, dumb little community. Not every person who votes for Trump is dumb. All have been duped, unless they're billionaires. But they're not necessarily dumb. But amongst the fans of that, where they go, ha 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 ha, ha autistic, ha 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 ha, what they're saying is that he's a little bit dumb. That's what they're saying. It's a shitty thing to say. But I'm not here to endorse this guy's behavior. I just want to be crystal clear that I want to point out what these folks are saying about each other behind the scenes. It's like if they called each other the F word behind the scenes. In their parlance, it means something different. And I'm sure that what he is essentially communicating here is, I'm smarter than Donald Trump. That's what he's trying to say.
And we're not going to fight a war against them, one hopes, but we'll definitely be taking orders from them. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
No. And he said that 5 years ago when everyone's like, shut up, racist. Okay, he's a racist. But is he wrong?
That evil Mickey Mouse laugh makes me want to punch anyone in the face. The one person I could never debate is Tucker Carlson. Not because he's clever. I think he's smarter than your average Fox host. But no, that effing evil Mickey Mouse laugh. I would black out. I'd wake up in a prison cell. And I'd say, did he laugh? And they'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, well, fair enough. Ridiculous.
All right, so a lot of ass kissing, but let's not forget the smooth way he slipped in. Trump's a little bit autistic.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's telling you that Trump's a dum-dum without saying it. By
the way, being autistic doesn't automatically mean that you're dumb. It doesn't mean anything.
100%.
Like that. Yeah, you want to be clear about that.
But to the right-wing audience, he's saying a little autistic. Then he's saying, well, he can see the big picture, but he can't figure out any of the details because he ain't that bright, right? So that's a lot of kidney blows to Donald Trump while kind of agreeing with him.
And remember, the kidney blows are a lot more harsh as he's exchanging messages with his colleagues over at Fox News. Thanks to the Dominion defamation lawsuit against Fox, we have seen some of those messages, including this statement from Tucker Carlson to one of his colleagues on January 4th, 2021. I hate him, meaning Trump, passionately.
Oops.
What he's good at is destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong, meaning play the election coverage wrong. Carlson, in his text exchange with a colleague, expressed his ultimate frustration with Trump's administration. Quote, we're all pretending we've got a lot to show for it because admitting what a disaster it's been is too tough to digest, he wrote. But come on, there really isn't an upside to Trump.
Is that the sense you got from watching Tucker Carlson during the Trump years? Isn't that amazing what kind of a liar he is? Internally, he thinks Trump was a disaster and got nothing done. But on Fox, he told you 4 years, oh, this guy's great, he's great. Trump and the liberals are so unfair to him, right? But another reason that you're now seeing these quotes in a podcast that he did is because he knows those quotes are out there. And he's trying to square the two. Oh, well, I thought Trump didn't get enough done, and that's why I was saying that behind the scenes. But I mean, he's better than the other, option, which is the no good libs. So that's why.
Guys.
That face.
Listen, I know that.
Look, I do want to just highlight what they just said. As we have been saying, those quotes are out there. I have been encouraging you to take advantage of that, to ask MAGA about that. Tucker Carlson, even though he is clearly not allowed not allowed to talk about it on Fox. He also knows those quotes are out there. And to some degree, you know he's going to be asked to address them. He will make an appearance in front of a crowd at some point. That question will come up. And Cenk is exactly right. He has got to build an opinion, a worldview that he can present, which fits with those disparate viewpoints. This is good overall because one way or another, it is inviting criticism of Trump. And when you have a fascist that can be criticized, they can't exist. Doesn't matter if they're being criticized from an equally fascist standpoint. The beautiful thing about the difficult relationships built on the left, about the nitpicky left, that's the good thing about it. That's why I encourage left debate and disagreement. In fact, just disagreement between any rational parties that are trying to find solutions, real solutions to real problems. Because you don't have that weakness then. I call it puppy fighting. You have your weaknesses exposed, and they should be if they exist. If you're trying to find solutions, actual solutions for real-world problems, you shouldn't be afraid of finding out there are flaws in your plan or even flaws in your presentation of your plan. Fascism can't stand up to that. Fascism can't exist in that kind of environment because it's a critical environment. What happens? Two fascists criticize each other. They're in disagreement. What must they do then? Like the rest of us, they must find facts that that decide the point. They must turn to facts. And facts are always embarrassing for the right wing. Unadulterated, genuine facts kill both of their plans. It can only be good. But TYT is about to, in my opinion, miss something big here, or at least misunderstand something big. I'll let them say their take. I'm going to offer my take. I would love your opinion as to who's correct. Bear in mind, your old pal Jake's got skin that's thicker than baseball leather, baseball glove leather. I'll be fine. Let me know your honest opinion. But let's hear their side first.
Without a shadow of a doubt, everyone hates Trump except for the voters, the Republican voters.
Yep.
Okay, I know the business community has hated Trump for a long time. I know that based on conversations I had at the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce back in October of 2021 as I was about to debate Ben Shapiro before the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce.
And I know left-wing businessmen, right-wing businessmen, neutral businessmen. I've never met one that didn't think Trump was the dumbest man they'd ever met. No one respects him. And guys, if you're a Trump voter and you love him, I know why you love him. Don't get me wrong, I know better than all these guys. It's because he told the establishment to go F off. And you love that. Because you've been dying for somebody to say that for so long. And you're right about that. I just wish it was someone who was smart and who had your best interest in mind.
Exactly. Now,
okay, so we didn't disagree on that part. Now they're about to go into it. I do want to jump in here, though, because, again, Cenk identifies something that is both true and useful to people who are interested in peace in the United States, in exiting this weird Cold War we're in and actually addressing populist issues. We have an opportunity, as I showed you when I did the My Microcosm stream, where I was talking about Michigan and the electoral tendencies there. If you want to appeal to MAGA, forget the traditional right and left ideologies. You don't go closer to the center in order to appeal to MAGA. No, you go brutally honest and as far left as you can. Why? Because those are populist ideas. Bernie Sanders absolutely cleaned up in Michigan. In all of the districts that did not vote traditionally to the left. Why is that? He had populist beliefs. When Bernie Sanders lost in the overall primary, where did those districts vote? They all voted for Trump. They wanted to hear a populist message. They understand the core problem. They just don't get the details. So if you try to appeal to those voters by saying, no, we're going to go full oligarchy. We're going to be so middle of the road, you won't be able to tell the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. That's how purple we're willing to be. That's not going to get MAGA voters. What is going to get them? 100% it's going to be somebody saying, tax those rich bastards. That will do it. All the other stuff, all the nonsense about trans or whatever, that's just a target to vent at, and it's gross that it works. But don't think for a minute that you are going to be appealing to those voters by going towards the center politically, because as we've talked about again and again and again, it is not liberal versus conservative issues that are genuinely the motivation here. And once we understand that, we are going to become a hell of a lot more successful electorally.
As with most messaging on the right wing, it seems like this, by the way, let me just say, like, it's so gross to insult autistic people. But apparently that is the insult they've decided to go with, because it's not just Tucker Carlson who said that about Donald Trump. There was someone else as well. Let's watch.
What do you make of all these texts from the Fox News people saying they didn't buy the election fraud stuff, but they had to delicately tread around that topic?
I know all about it.
Yeah.
I can tell you all about it. I don't want to hurt any friends of mine.
Okay.
But here's what happened. I mean, Trump used to do stuff like call my wife up.
Yeah.
Like one day I walk in the house, my wife's like, oh, Trump's on the phone. And this is like 5 years ago. I go, really? I go, hey, Alex, I'm talking to your wife right now. And then she hangs up the phone. She goes, yeah, he just spent 15 minutes telling me you've got a real man. Your husband's the man. I mean, Trump is like, he's autistic and he's very charismatic. And he's very, like, conversations with Trump on the phone are not what's on TV. Slick. I mean, like, he's sucking your. I'm telling these stories because they're true. And to me, I told Trump, I said, dude.
It was a poor time for me to do that. Look, I'm going to skip past Alex Jones for a minute here, even though it's delicious. I'm going to skip past a little bit of TYT joking about whether or not he actually had that phone call. For the record, I believe that phone call did happen because Trump has said in a book that he enjoys calling his friends' wives up and trying to get them to have an affair with him. So I have no doubt that the wife just got a 15-minute phone call from the president trying to convince her to have an affair. And she said, hi, husband, that is here in the room now. Trump says, you're great. I'm done with this. Personally, that's what I think. But it's neither here nor there. I want to get to the part where I disagree with TYT, where I have the balls to disagree with Attic Asparian, who is many times my senior on the internet streaming scene. Oh, well, I've got the chutzpah. You can't fault me for that. Let's listen.
About the former president wanting to perform oral sex on him, and you're like, no, nailed it. This is where I get my news. Like, how did this happen?
All right, I'm gonna say one last thing about that. Look, Bernie Sanders is a really wonderfully decent man and an honest man, right? But we criticize him anyway from time to time when he deserves it, right? And so look, my main issue with Bernie Sanders is that he just will not take on establishment Democrats. And that is blocking so many things. If he would just aggressively take them on, and if AOC and the Just Democrats, they all did it, I think it would make a giant difference. See, we're looking for someone better when we already have someone who's really honest and fighting for us. And we're like, well, yeah, but it's not exactly getting the job done. We have really high standards, right? Whereas Republicans are like, oh, Trump didn't get anything done except tax cuts for the rich and deregulation of the banks that blew up and deregulation of trains that blew up in my neighborhood. And everyone on our side thinks he's a liar and an idiot, but that's the best I can do. Really? Come on, man, it's a country of 330 million people. Find a conservative that's strong and smart and is there a single conservative leader that actually has your best interests in mind? We all got to do better, man. We got to have leaders who are for us, willing to take on the powerful and get the job done. And so far, they're really, to be fair, the right wing. Has anyone on the left gotten the job done, right? So a lot of leaders that are not at all leaders, and just a ton of theater that's just kind of puts us in a miserable shape. But back to Trump and Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. This ship is turning. It is turning against Trump.
Here we go.
And so what happens when these guys turn is a completely different question. This is the biggest roller coaster I've ever seen. Trump looked like he was badly damaged after the midterm elections. He attacks DeSantis like crazy. DeSantis doesn't counter him. All of a sudden, Trump is way back up. But now Tucker and Alex Jones are turning on him. That's the base of the base, right? So now Trump is back to in a little bit of trouble. So who knows?
I disagree. I don't think that Trump is in a little bit of trouble. I think that Tucker Carlson is as cowardly as he is on Fox News, where he avoids ever criticizing Donald Trump because Donald Trump runs the show and he knows it.
Okay. So here's where I disagree with Anna Kasparian. I think from her viewpoint, it seems that way. Like it goes Trump first, then Fox, then all the little guys with their conspiracies and what have you. I don't think that's the way it goes. I think it goes, and let me try this. I think it goes little guys first, then Trump, then Fox. I think those little guys are Rush Limbaugh. That's the same crowd that Alex Jones is serving. Yeah, a little less polished, a little less hold your head high when you say you're a fan, but the people that watch that stuff, the same function is happening. The craziest ideas, the newest, wildest right-wing extreme ideas. Or rather, they're not even right-wing ideas, just the most extreme ideas that can be sold to a right-wing audience, ostensibly. That gets tested out there first. And they know it's a smaller audience than Fox. But it's no different than when they try a veggie burger at a couple branches of a franchise before they see if they're and they look at sales before they see if they're gonna do it nationwide. That is what's happening here. Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, and I'm sure tons of other people on the far, far right, understand that Trump is a sinking ship. He's old. He's a little bit dumb. He's always been a little bit dumb. He's older, which means even if you think, oh, look, he's going to live to 114, fine, but that is ammunition you don't have against Joe Biden then. And there's the obvious. The guy could be in prison. How much longer are you going to be able to deal with a court of law, what is said under oath? Eventually, as Fox is now discovering, as Tucker Carlson is personally experiencing right now, your lies in front of a camera will be compared to the situation where you are legally required to say the truth. And if there is a difference between what you said in front of the camera and what you said in a court of law, it's embarrassing. And if you're with Trump, you will have to lie in front of the camera to pretend like this guy is helping anybody, to pretend like there's anything decent about it. With somebody like DeSantis, or if Tucker Carlson ran, God help us, they would be intelligent enough to give news people the out they need to be able to support them blindly but not have to worry about looking like fools when they are inevitably dragged in front of a judge. They understand, in other words, Trump is a liability. And in the era of politics that he created, where everybody has to pay attention because now the danger is obvious to us. They're not slowly turning up the boil anymore. They're taking a blowtorch to the pot. In this era that Trump created, he can't survive. It's an era of scrutiny, of actual critical scrutiny of our leaders for once. Praise be. And they know that you need somebody savvier than that. The sinking ship. So they're testing out, in my opinion, and I'd like to know if you agree or not in the comments. In my opinion, they are testing out these waters, these somebody other than Trump. Maybe just as crazy, maybe just as evil. Don't worry, we'll still get after the blacks and the trans and the blah, blah, blah. But I think Trump's not the one to do it anymore. That's what they're testing out in these waters. And if it's successful, if there is a growing, festering group that are still willing to do Trump stuff, but with somebody else leading the charge. And by the way, they're not just testing, they're also planting those seeds. It's both. When they do that in the core of their base, who listen to those shows, if it's successful, then it goes on to Fox. So where I disagree with Anna is I don't think it goes Trump, Fox, those shows. I think it goes those shows and then on to Trump or Fox. It goes base and then everything else. That's how it goes.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But the top insult comic in the country is Donald Trump. True. I don't know how he does it. It doesn't matter who he's insulting. It could be one of the most powerful right-wingers in the media or in politics. He just has this ability to cut people down to size. It's insane.
Yeah, so. And right now he's kind of running against right-wing media, not against an opponent, because Ron DeSantis is nowhere to be found. I think I saw him on a milk carton, but outside of that, he hasn't had any guts to fight back against Donald Trump. So let's see how that develops too. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get.
I mean, it's good news all around. MAGA fighting with slightly less MAGA, it only benefits. There is, however, things you can do to take advantage of this. First and foremost, issue the unsubscribe challenge. Link in the description. We know that Fox News doesn't tell the truth. We certainly know that OAN, Newsmax, they don't tell the truth. This unsubscribe challenge, I made this before the Fox Dominion case showed how obvious this was. Because it's not terribly difficult to catch Fox in any story they tell. All you do, go to somebody in your community that you are trying to pull out of that right-wing rabbit hole. Offer to watch the same story covered by their network of choice and your network of choice. Pull up the clips. Fact check as you go. You watch them one at a time, and whoever cannot pass a fact check first, they have to unsubscribe from that YouTube channel or that whatever thing that they watch for just 1 week. Just 1 week. It serves two purposes. First is it gives them a week of not being indoctrinated, and during that week they have so many opportunities to catch people saying things from our perspective, to hear some of the batch crazy things. Hopefully a news story will break in that week, and they won't hear about it first from a propaganda machine. And they'll hear how they sound to other people. But more importantly, even if they don't make good, even if they welch on the bet they don't unsubscribe, they will have had to watch some serious coverage of something they thought they knew about first. You will be prepared to watch a little Fox News. You're not going to be indoctrinated by what Fox says about X or Y. But they don't have the tools built up to comprehend actual facts. So it is going to be a big experience for them to see actual reporting. They're also going to get little things in there, like Ari Melber disclosing that on its face disclosing that a guest has a relationship with the network, as opposed to the way Fox does it, which is Mike Lindell buys a lot of ads on this network, and we're grateful for that. We think he's a true patriot. They're going to pick up on things like that. Issue the unsubscribe challenge. The other thing you can do is simply ask MAGA in your community, because Fox still does not have the ability to talk about this. Did you hear what Tucker Carlson said about you? To get that answer, they're going to have to watch anything other than Fox. And there's value in that.